Today, very briefly, I'm going to talk to you about the universal theme. Let's get started. It's actually been a little bit over 2 years since we have the universal theme. And in that time, we've done a lot, right? A lot of people have built really interesting, innovative applications with it. I've seen people use it for all sorts of things, from simple applications, which are just, CRUD operations, to more complex applications, which can do a whole lot more. And the goal behind Universal Theme has always been the same, right? You as Apex developers right now, you're in charge of a whole lot of different areas of application development. You're doing data modeling and application logic and performance and security and deployment. But on top of all of that, you also have to do user interface and user experience, right? We thought this is where Universal Theme can help you the most. The goal of Universal Theme has always been threefold. The first part is responsive. Make it work on all these different devices that we have. The second goal of Universal Theme has always been to make it versatile, meaning it should have all the building blocks you need to build compelling, rich applications. And finally, the third key principle of Universal Theme has been to make it customizable, meaning you can easily customize it without becoming an expert in CSS, JavaScript, HTML. So that was the goal of Universal Theme, and I want to give you a quick recap of some of the features in Apex 5.1. So just a quick show of hands, how many people are on Apex 5.1 right now? Okay, so just a few features. It's about 50-50 mix in this room. The first new feature relating to Universal Theme and with user interface was live template options. Now this let you customize the template options immediately. So if you're on 5, the way you do this right now is you go into Page Designer, you set a template option, you go run your application, you see how it looks. Oh, you don't like it, you go back to Page Designer, and you keep doing this process over and over again. With Apex 5.1, we have live template options, so you can do this on the fly, running your application. The next thing that we introduced was Font Apex, which is an icon library designed to, work best with Universal Theme and with Apex, and it's a replacement for Font Awesome. So we took Font Awesome. We have this amazing, super talented designer on our team. He redrew every single icon, and he redrew another 400 on top of that for applications that people like us like to build. And then we have this new Font Apex. It also introduced right-to-left support. So if you're building applications for an audience which is using a right-to-left language like Arabic or Hebrew, now you can do that. And in fact, your application entirely switches over. We also have something called the Universal Theme Sample Application. And this is what most of my demo today will be about. And finally, there's 100+ improvements in many, many different areas of the product. So we have, inline item help and a lot of improvements for items. We have a lot of improvements for how the theme works. A lot of defaults have been changed. So overall, it's been a very monumental improvement in Apex 5.1. But now I'm going to get into a demo, and I want to show you how I work with Universal Theme and how you can use the Universal Theme sample application to develop your applications faster. So this is a workflow of how you can use it. And then after a few minutes, I'll go into my actual, what's new in Apex 5.2. Right now, we're in the application builder. I have this demo app ready. And one more thing I'm going to do, actually, in my slide, I say, hey, go to apexoracle.com/UT. This is the Universal Theme sample application. And it's really the de facto documentation that we have for Universal Theme. So let's go back here. And I have this documentation pulled up as well. So the Universal Theme sample app is right here. Neat little trick. Actually, if I hover over this, the logo spins. If I hover out, it spins back. So we work really hard here. So using this application, you can kind of learn a lot about Universal Theme. You can look at all the components. For example, if I click on components, you'll see a huge list of all the different components that are offered with Universal Theme. And if I click on one, for example, I say cards, I can click on it and I can see examples of how it's used, what type of templates it's available as. So for example, if you're using a report, you can use the cards report template. If you want to have a static list or list component, you can use the cards template there as well. Here's some different examples of it. It also shows template options that are applied to that specific example. So the example here, the template options are listed below right here. But it's a lot more than that as well. So if I keep scrolling, you'll see there's some list template customization. So if with a list template, we have these custom user attributes, and here's what they do. If I'm using a report template, here's the column aliases I need in my report to show up in the right place. And finally, we have a list of all of the template options available as well. So there's a whole lot in this application, but here's how I use it. So let's go into this demo application I've set up, right? And I'll go through each of these steps very briefly, but this application is available, and I'll make it available online so you can go and download it and run through the exact same exercise that I've done. So first, let's look at some icons. As I mentioned, font Apex is now part of Apex 5.1. So you have access to 1,100 plus icons. And what this means is you can have a richer user experience in many of your screens that you thought wasn't really possible, or you didn't need to go out and pick something else. So here's an example of a region that I have, which is showing me a database session warning, right? It has a very generic warning icon right now, but I think I can make that a little bit more interesting, maybe capture the user's attention. It seems like a fairly serious warning. So let's go back to the Universal Theme sample app. And the left side, I'm going to click on icons. I can do this from the home page as well. So here's all the icons available. And I can actually just scroll, and you can see there's tons and tons and tons of icons. But what you're not seeing is all the modifiers and all the other attributes we have. So let's say I'm looking for a database icon. Now, luckily, we have the Oracle database, and we thought, hey, why don't we add a lot more database icons to font Apex? So here you can actually see we have 18 different icons, and a lot of them have small modifiers built in, so I can just use them directly as they are. But really what I want to do is customize it a little bit more. So I can just click on the first icon, and I have this little icon like builder screen pop up. In here, what I can do is I can apply a number of different effects, and I can copy the HTML markup and the CSS classes. So for example, maybe I want to make this database really big. It's a big warning. I can even have an animation. I can kind of have it flash. I could, if I really wanted to, I can even make it kind of spin, like, hey, it's a really big warning. But I'll just make it flash. And now I can also add a modifier to this. So I can say, you know what, I want to add the warning modifier. Looks like this. And let's make it look red, a little bit more dangerous, right? Here it is. I don't think any user will be able to ignore this on your screen. So how do I take this and put it into my application? So here I have HTML markup for the icon in case I wanted to use it in any context. But what I really want is just the CSS classes for that icon. So I'm going to copy this text at the very bottom of my screen. And then let's go back into the application I'm modifying. I'll do quick edit from the very bottom. And just going to click on the region. And what I'm going to do is make it so that the alert template doesn't use the default icons, right? It's using the default warning icon. I want to use some custom icon. So here, I go to template options. I open this up. And right here it says show icons, alert icons. I want to use custom icons. Just click OK. And right here, where it says icon CSS classes, that's where I paste in the value I copied from the Universal Theme sample app. Just going to save this. And when I run this application, now you can see I have my alert, right? No one's ever going to miss this. So easy way to do this. You can do this in a whole lot other places as well. So here's some cards, which I've applied some modifiers and also added some custom colors. Here's some buttons. So a really simple toolbar that I've used using all these icons. And you can see that this home icon has a little warning. Finally, you can actually use this in reports as well. So here I have a report of some servers showing uptime and downtime. Here's some CPU usage and memory usage. And right now I rounded the numbers up to 45 and 65, basically in fives, of how much CPU and memory that server is using. What I want to do is show a small pie chart. Now, how can I use icons to do that? If I go back to the icon page, just reset this, I can type in pie. And conveniently, we've built in all these pie chart icons you can use for a poor man's pie chart. So you could use jet charts, of which Hillary showed earlier, but if you just want a really simple, small pie chart and you want to use it in your report or other places, this is what I would use. I go back to my application. I'm just going to go modify this column really quickly. Let's modify the CPU. And on the right side, under the HTML expression property, let's just open this up. And I'll type in the value I'll copy. Actually, let's go back to the sample app. Click on pie chart here. I don't need to have any of these modifiers or anything. Sorry, let me just clear those out. Okay. So Here's the HTML markup I need, right? Just gonna copy this, put it right there. Except I don't want to hard code 10. I want to use the actual column, right? So CPU load, that's it. Click OK, save. Run the app again. And you can see I have a little icon, right? Now this is much more informative. I can click to sort it, and I can see how usage is. If I go a little bit more than this, I can do a whole lot. I can make it look a little bit more easier to use. So I've cheated. Here, I also select the color, green or red, depending on whether the server is up or down. And I added a title for accessibility. So if I hover over that little pie chart, it'll actually tell me the percent as well. Otherwise, you have no way of conveying that information otherwise. So let's do that for the CPU and the memory. Run the application again. And now this is far more usable, right? I have a very simple kind of dashboard-like report. All this just using icons. Now, I'll go to buttons. And what I want to do here is customize this actions link at the very right of this report. So typically this is very common. You have a report in Apex and you want to make a link look like a button, right? So how do I do this? Back to the Universal Theme sample app. If I go to reference, there's a link called button builder. So I can click on this and this will help me build a button that I can easily put into my report. So for example, here's all the things I need to copy: the link text, the link attributes, or the full markup. And I have a preview of the button at the very top of my screen. So what I want to do is make this say manage. Maybe also select an icon, so I can say something like this. I can make it small. If I want, I can make it a different color, but I'll just keep it as it is. And then I'm just going to copy the link text here. Let's go back to, let's go edit this column, right? So I'm going to click on the actions column, edit this. Now, I already have it a link. It's just a dummy link going to nowhere. But the link text, I'm going to replace with what I copied from my sample app. And the link attributes, which are right here, again, I'll just copy that, put it into link attributes. Now I just save, run the page, and have a button, right? Fairly easy to do this. Now I'll show you some utility class. Now I know I'm moving really fast, but you can watch the video online, and all the sample apps are available online as well. I just want to cover a little bit more. So here's some way you can add some colors to your lists or application components. Here I have two lists, one for Michael Jackson, one for Prince. And what's going on is I could apply the colors from Universal Theme. So I can go into Live Template Options and I can check the box that says Apply Theme Colors, and I get something like this, right? Some random set of colors from the color palette in Universal Theme. But what I really want to do is apply a certain color to this. So if I go back to the Universal Theme sample app, and under reference, there's color and status modifiers, I can go here, and here's the entire list of all the colors I can use and how I want to use them. So if I want to have a block which uses this blue color with the text being appropriate for that color, I can just use U-color 2. Or I could use U-color to text for just coloring the text, or the background, or the border. So I can use these to kind of color any component within my application. And I could also use this as a plugin developer to tie into Universal Theme color palette. So really briefly, I'll just show you how to do that. Go into Page Designer, edit this list, grid edit. And I already have attribute 6 selected, but if you didn't know that, you can look in the sample app. I'll just find a red color. Okay, I think Michael Jackson really liked red. Let's go back here. And because this is interactive grid, I can easily do this. Save, run the page, and now I have red, right? You can use this all over the place. For example, here's 2 regions where I've just applied a color, so it's not just for some icon, something. You can use it in many other contexts as well. The last thing I want to show you is how you can customize forms in Universal Theme. So here, I have a salary field, and I have the pre and post text populated. But what I want to do is make them look more like part of the field, right? Right now, the text is kind of right outside of it. So I can just go into quick edit, click on live template options, and I'll zoom in a little bit more. I can set the pre-text to display as a block and also the post-text to display as a block. Save this, and now it looks like one field. I can also add some text below the item. Now, many people before were using post-text to add text below the item, right? So you might have some help text or whatever information it is. For example, let's modify the email field. And I'll say, we won't spam you. Promise. There we go. So this is a new feature in Apex 5.1. You can easily add some inline help text to an item. The last thing I want to show you is how you can add an icon to a text field or some item types that icons make sense for. So here's the Twitter. I can set an icon class. I just opened this dialog up. I'm going to look for Twitter. Here's the bird. Okay. Here we go. Right. So easy way to add icons and other things to your form. Now, all of this still works with all the template options that we have at the region level. So if I wanted to make these form items large, I can easily go in here. I can say item size, large. Everything still kind of works. So easy way to customize forms. The last thing I want to show you is dialog. So in Universal Theme 5.1, in Apex 5.1, dialogs have been improved in that you no longer have to set a fixed size for them. They will automatically expand to fit the content. So here, I have a very simple dialog, and you notice that as it opened up, it expanded to fit the contents exactly inside. If I have a region which kind of shows or hides more items, again, it'll automatically expand or shorten itself to fit. Sometimes you want to have a dialog maintain its size, like if you have a wizard, and here you just need to set the height for the first dialog, and all subsequent dialogs will use that same height. And finally, sometimes you may have a case where you want to have a dialog that blows up and fills the entire screen. There's a template option for that that you can also use. So very simple run through, but how you can use Universal Theme, sample app, and kind of some new features in Apex 5.1 to make a more compelling application. Let's talk about what's coming next in Apex 5.2. So the goal of Universal Theme has always been to be, to enable you to build responsive applications, to enable you to give you all the components you need to build a versatile application, and to enable you to customize your application so it fits with whatever company, whatever context you want to use this in. So going with that same theme, we're focusing a lot on each of these three areas. The first one is for responsive. We want to make it better for your application to work on mobile devices. And the first way to do that is to provide declarative touch events. The next thing is to improve our responsive style. So there are some components in Universal Theme which are still not 100% responsive. And finally, and this is probably something that's more important to users that are using jQuery mobile applications right now, is to improve the support for these mobile UI design patterns in Universal Theme. Whether that means having navigation at the very bottom of your screen, whether that means providing some kind of list view or a reflow table, we want to see what we can do to make Universal Theme more adept at handling this mobile UI use case. I wanted to share this with you. I don't always build mobile web apps, but when I do, I use Universal Theme. And we've seen this from a lot of customers, not all of our customers, but we certainly want to make this possible. The next thing is we want to have versatility in Universal Theme. And this means that we're going to have a new font in Apex 5.2, Safe Harbor, which will allow font Apex to be used at larger sizes in a more graceful manner. Right now, what happens is the font was designed at 16 by 16, and as you blow it up, icons start to look a little bit more crude, right? They're very simple shapes. So we're looking at a way to make font Apex work better at different sizes. We want to improve the cards that we have. People have been using cards for a lot of different things, and we want to improve the versatility of cards. And finally, floating labels. And I'll show you a demo of this. Here's how forms look right now in Apex. Very basic form. It might be a little bit hard to read. Here's how a form will look in Apex 5.2. So this will just be exposed as item templates or label templates, but basically this is going to follow the floating labels UI pattern where the label appears big, you click on it, it shrinks down. And the number one driver behind this was to enable better mobile support, because on a mobile screen, you don't want to have small form items. You want to have a large click target where you can click on and open it up. So that's the floating labels. Finally, getting down to customizability. We're looking into providing a way for you to override template options. So Universal Theme provides a number of template options, but it'd be nice if you could also override them. So you can say, hey, I want to use Universal Theme. I want to say subscribe to Universal Theme, but I want all of my regions to have the following template options. We're going to, of course, work on additional styles, additional templates, and additional options. And we also want to improve theme rolling, making it better for you to build more customized UI without having to, mess with a whole lot of colors or selecting a whole lot of different options. So that's customizability. Overall, that's Universal Theme. But I'm not done yet, and I want to show you something else. So I don't just work on Universal Theme, and I had to kind of squeeze this in my, I think I have like 3 minutes remaining. I also work on something, called Spotlight. So I'm not just working on Universal Theme or Apex, I work on a lot of other projects, but I like to focus on developer productivity as well. So something that I use a lot on my Mac is something called Spotlight Search. So I just hit a shortcut, opens up this nice little search field, and I can start typing something away and navigate immediately or find something I'm looking for. And this was the inspiration behind a feature in Apex I want to call Apex Spotlight. So I hit a shortcut, I get this search field, and I can start typing something in. But actually, I'm going to show you a demo of this. So this is better than the screenshots I have. Okay, so here I'm on my Apex 5.2 box, 5.2 dev box, and I'm just gonna log in again. Okay, so now I'm in Apex, and I'm gonna hit some shortcut key. Right now it's Control semicolon, but it'll be customizable, and that won't be the default. It's just for testing. But when I hit it, I get this search field pop up in the middle of my screen. And now what I want to do is I want to quickly go and maybe go into App Builder. So I type in App Builder. You'll see I see results immediately. I also see a bunch of other results. I can go highlight. I'm just going to click on App Builder, quickly jump into App Builder. Now I want to go edit my Universal Theme demo application that I just showed you. Okay. Again, hit the shortcut again. Universal sample app, demo app, hit enter. Now I'm in the demo app. Maybe I want to go and export this app. I can type in export. I can go straight to the export screen. Oh, I can go to the export utility. It will go to the export screen. I could go straight into a page as well. So maybe I want to go modify the dialogues page maybe. Type in dialogues, here's page 60. So now I'm loading Page Designer with the dialogues page. Here's where this gets really interesting. I could navigate around Apex with this fairly easily, but what if I could navigate within Page Designer as well? So on this page, I have a number of regions and items or buttons. So maybe I want to focus on this wizard region right here in the middle. I'm going to invoke this and type in Wiz, and I can see that it says, oh, region, wizard dialog. Hit enter, and it focuses on that region. So it's an easy way to navigate around Application Express, but also within the context of your page in Page Designer. I can go into a SQL Workshop immediately. I can do all sorts of different things. But the idea is to provide a unified search and navigation experience within Apex, a quick way to jump into different areas of the product. And the primary motivation behind this is not only for pro users who want to quickly access different areas of the product, but also for new users who don't quite know how to get to a certain screen. We have many screens in Apex. For example, if I go to Workspace Utilities, there's a lot of very good value here, but it's not as easy for new users to discover. But if this is exposed with the Spotlight feature, I can quickly type something in and go to that. So that's Apex Spotlight. Again, it's just effortless navigation. It's Page Designer enabled, and the idea is to provide a unified search experience. And that's all.